In his last 5 games, Benson has gone 3-3 with 2 power play points and tonight's game-winning goal. We're always fascinated this time of the year by the guys that step up and deliver, because it's not always the biggest names and not always the biggest bodies. Dano, you noted when we were watching this, his size is smaller, but boy, was his impact big tonight.
Yeah, it's not the size, it's you measure the heart. Yeah, and this kid plays with a motor. He is a spark plug for the Buffalo Sabres, not afraid to get his nose dirty in and around the net. Where is he right on this power play? Right in front. I love the poise and patience on a nice pass there from Dome, but he had to corral that off his right skate and get that to his stick and backhand it over Dobish and into the net. Terrific goal by Benson. And I mentioned, he's kind of been the heartbeat of this Buffalo Sabre team. Yeah. Amazing to say, at 21 years old, 21 today. I want to correct myself. Hellenius got in one game before. I also said
understood.
Very noticeable tonight.
Very.
His second playoff game. But the youngster's bringing energy. Benson's been doing it all playoffs.
Yeah, he's quick. He's an agitator. I think one thing that maybe we didn't see him do as much was agitating the Montreal Canadiens in this game, but he's still contributing offensively. He's got dynamite skill. The line with Doan, and whether you put Norris in there, you got McLeod, those 4 players, when they combine for a threesome on the ice, they're driven by Benson's speed and his tenacity on the puck. And in the playoffs, the simpler you play, the harder you play, sometimes the better it is, and the better you play. And that is Zach Benson. And that power play goal, as this game went on, we saw it, a little surprised how he gets so wide open and is able to kick the puck up and then chip it in on the backhand, kind of forehand backhand. But the Montreal Canadiens just seemed to separate at the wrong time and left the wrong guy wide open in the slot on Buffalo's power play, and Benson gets a huge goal.
From the wrong guy to the right guy. How about the courage of one Lindy Ruff, changing the guy in net? We hadn't seen Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen since April 21, Game 2 of Round 1. He comes in this game and becomes the first star reader, 2 goals allowed, .933 save percentage. What a move.
You've got to push the right buttons, and Lindy Ruff definitely pushed the right button on this one. It's difficult for goaltenders to come in when they've had time off because you cannot simulate game action as a goaltender. The practice is one thing. The level of play in front of the goaltender, the body's moving, the crashing in the net, you don't crash the net like that in practice. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was fantastic in this game. The last stop that we showed there, the way he comes across. Didn't like the one goal against Caulfield, but those are ones you chalk up to the fact that maybe he hasn't played as much. And it's all about, you watch him in that whole goal sequence. He was back and forth, and he never got himself set on that goal. Other than that, he really settled in and had himself a heck of a game. And at times when he was needed, he was the backbone and the difference in this game.
And that's kind of the new wave in the National Hockey League, isn't it, the last few years in the playoffs, also this year, where teams don't just use one goalie. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you ride a guy for a few games, he struggles a little bit, or you need a little change of momentum and you want a different look in goal. You go to your other guy and 1A, whatever you want to call it. But I love the way he battled. He really battled. I didn't like that goal either to Caulfield where he lifted the leg, but you have to find a rhythm. Like Reader said, you're not quite into it. But, man, did he make some big saves. And you could see it. He was fired up in net, and he really gave the Buffalo Sabres a boost going back in the net for the Sabres and made some big-time saves. Look, Buffalo flirted with disaster here in this game. They took 7 penalties, and Montreal was 1 for 7 on the power play, had plenty of looks. In fact, they took over the game at times throughout, especially after Buffalo started so well. But they found a way, as we like to say in hockey. They found a way. It's tied at 2. The slate's wiped clean, and now going home for a pivotal Game 5. But the Sabres got to clean some things up. But it's a huge victory for them. They had to have it.
And you have to have puck luck this time of the year. These guys are experts, and they can break down plays and explain things to the most amazing nuance. And then there's this. Tage Thompson, who is a consistent 40-goal scorer in our league, does something that, frankly, would be hard to do for even the Canadiens who play there all the time. The bounce this took was wild, Dano. How do you explain it?
Well, you really don't. I mean, it's a very fortuitous bounce for Tage Thompson and the Buffalo Sabres. And maybe they needed it.
Yes, they did.
Because that's when they were starting to reel after a real good start, going up 1-0. Now all of a sudden they're getting into penalty trouble. They're down 2-1. They give up a late goal with 12 seconds left in the period to Caulfield that we talked about. All of a sudden it's 2-1 Montreal. So that's why they say shoot the puck, shoot it from anywhere, rim it around instead of trying to carry it in the zone. Yeah, and you might get lucky once in a while. Well, that was extremely lucky and fortunate off the stanchion in the glass there. But you take it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
you got to be lucky in some games in the playoffs, and that kind of settled the Sabres out.
That was complete luck. The way the puck bounced off the stanchion, remember the Zamboni opens in that corner, so when the doors are closed, there's always going to be a little bit of a ripple. And in the end zones, if you look at most rinks, you're going to see long stanchions, and the glass has got a little more flex to it than necessarily the glass on the side. You see wider, heavier glass on the sides, but once you get down to the corners for the physical play, you've got the stanchions that come out. And when it hits the stanchion, it can take funny bounces. And that's why Dobas stayed in the net, because he didn't want to get caught out of the net in a funny bounce. But the way he was standing in his net, like you could do that over and over again and it never happened. Just the way he was poised in his net, the way it hits the stanchion, and it hits him right in the back of the knee. Now, for the older fans of the game and the older fans of the old Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, they're used to seeing this. In the old Buffalo odd, where you used to come out right beside the goal, the visiting team came out beside your goal. For two ends, that was for 2 periods, that was your goal. And there was a fella who used to work the door, and the rinks aren't like this anymore, but there was a fellow who used to work the door. And as the puck rimmed around, and again, this is Sabres' offensive zone, you'd rim it around, he would kick on the bottom of the door, and the door would be maybe an inch or so, half an inch out, and the puck would pop right out in front of the defensive net.
Tell us.
So when Buffalo rimmed it around, they didn't go to the boards.
I never heard this conspiracy theory.
You didn't play there enough.
Amazing.
I played there enough.
This is great.
And Buffalo would go to the front of the net. They wouldn't necessarily, you rim it. Well, the puck naturally is going to rim, and it's going to come out this side. We played there in the playoffs all the time with Boston.
Amazing.
And the guy would lean on it. This home court advantage.
He's still bitter, Tom.
Amazing.
No, I'm laughing because I'm like, oh my gosh. For those of you who remember, the Sabre fans who are in the old odd would remember this one.
Yes.
This guy got paid double in the playoffs. He had one huge boot on. He had 2 boots.
That's
one was
amazing.
Like twice as big, so he could kick the door. I'm joking about that. So the puck would pop out in the middle of the ice. And as you're a defender, you're like, well, the puck's obviously going to rim around. I'll go get it in the corner. Well, as you're going this way, the puck would come out here, and it only happened once, and then you figured it out. The goalie's like, I'm not coming out. Forget this. I'm staying in the net. And I saw that. I was like, oh, my gosh, there's the Buffalo hockey gods. Talk about the hockey gods. There's the Buffalo hockey gods.